Seattle Refined.
Good morning. Hey, I didn't know you had the game show channel.
It's Cincinnati, you idiot.
We make ourselves at home with the stars of one of TV's most groundbreaking laugh fests. Then, say cheese.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, gosh. Refined goes in front of the lens to learn why a cool photography technique from the 1800s is suddenly making a major comeback. Plus, porta potties by Picasso.
I kind of like the idea, though. I think it's a great thing they're doing.
We'll show you what one Northwest town is doing to glamorize its outdoor toilets. Seattle Refined starts now. Hey everybody, welcome to Seattle Refined. I'm Gard Swanson. Well, these days, with everything that's going on in the world, sometimes you just need a good laugh, right? And the Tuesday night lineup here on Como always seems to do the trick.
Look at me, Eddie. I'm wearing the French cut shorts you love to make fun of. Comment on how much my legs you can see. What is wrong with this guy?
That's a scene from the hilarious comedy Fresh Off the Boat, which just kicked off its fourth season. It's the story of a suburban Asian American family growing up in Orlando, Florida in the 1990s. I recently had the chance to chat via satellite with two of the show's stars, Chelsea Crisp and Hudson Yang. Well, you know, guys, this is pretty exciting. I mean, you guys are on the air for, I think, your fourth season?
Yeah, it's great to go into season 4. Got a little bit of security. I should never say that. We should never go about security. I know.
What did you do?
What was I thinking?
What exciting things can we anticipate for season 4?
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on. For Eddie, last season we ended with Eddie kind of having a falling out with his friends. And so now Eddie's going into high school with nobody to support him or to back him up. And that's going to be tough for Eddie. I think that's one of the big changes for Eddie. And there's still more going on with the family.
Hudson, you've kind of grown up on the show. You're 13 years old. You started, I think, when you were 9. You've learned a lot about the 90s, where the show is based, and also about what's happening now.
Yeah. You know, I think one of the funniest things on set is that whenever me or the other two brothers just like don't know what something is, like I used to call the Walkmans, right? I thought they were Walkermans, and I had no idea what a pager was. It was like, I think the funniest moments are when me or one of the other brothers just have no idea what something from back then was.
Yeah.
And everyone just laughs their head off.
It's kind of like you're growing up in both timelines, really.
Yeah.
Hey, I can see you have a Bruce Lee shirt on, and I know I've watched you in other interviews. You seem to always make a statement, and you know, Bruce Lee went to the University of Washington.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Huh.
I think it's important because both like both Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee, they were both popular before Asian Americans really had a really big voice in this kind of like business. And I think it's really powerful. Not only because they are powerful themselves, they're like beasts, but also because they were able to give Asian Americans at least a little bit of voice.
Why is this show so groundbreaking, and why is it important to the American people?
Well, 20 years ago, we had All American Girl. And honestly, that show was a good show. It was a little bit before its time. I think this is really important because it finally gives people like me when I was a kid a face to look up to, a face to see, hey, look, that's me on TV.
And not just in one small role on a series where you're supporting a cast that's overall compiled of white people. It's important that we have a series where it is entirely about that family and where I am the person who's the supporting character.
Hey, congratulations on season 4, and keep doing it well. You guys are looking great. Fresh Off the Boat airs tonight at 8:30 right here on Como. From Fresh Off the Boat to a party on the barge. Go Seahawks! Woo! The 12s went nuts again on Hawks Island. This Seahawk pre-funk party for American Express cardholders is becoming an annual rite of passage on Elliott Bay. This year's party apparently brought some good juju to the Hawks as they overcame a sluggish start to beat the Colts. If you didn't get tickets to the barge, no worries. We have a complete gallery of the party on the website. And while you're there, check out the gallery from Mopop's Scared to Death Party. The shindig celebrated the opening of the museum's new exhibit that celebrates horror films, and partygoers really went to town on their costumes. It's worth a peek. Our Refined viewers are always tweeting and emailing us to let us know how much they really love the photos on our website. And it got us thinking at Refined about how far the art of photography has really come. The first photograph was snapped nearly 200 years ago. Since then, things have changed drastically, from flash powder to film to digital. But recently down at Filson, The clothing company showcased an old-fashioned way to shoot a photo that's making a comeback after more than a century.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, gosh. It's a flash from the past at Filson. With an old camera, Lindsay Ross is preserving the art of ambrotype photography. It's a technique dating back to the mid-19th century.
It kind of died out for a while, so there's been a couple of people who have brought it back from the history books, and it was less for me about keeping a tradition going and more that it's just the process I prefer to work in. It slows me down, it helps me be present with who I'm photographing and be present in the places where I'm photographing.
It's not like today's smartphone where it's point and shoot and you're finished. This is a long process, starting by coating the clean glass.
Basically, I'm preparing the emulsion on the metal or glass, and I'm putting that piece of light-sensitive film into the back of the camera, and then your image is projected directly onto the film, and then I take it to the dark room and rinse it with develop it, and then the image appears, and that image is directly onto the metal or glass. I'm putting the film in.
The glass is actually wet when it's placed in the camera. Do some people look better on glass than on tin?
They have the same aesthetic. It looks the same. I feel the glass has a little bit more depth to it, so I tend to shoot on glass.
So am I a glass guy or a tin guy?
I was gonna shoot a photo of you on glass.
On glass?
Yeah. How does that sound?
That sounds fine to me.
It's just so precious, like the glass. I love it.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. That is crazy.
There's this wonderful sense of excitement and surprise that happens with every photo. Like, is it going to turn out? There's always this question of how it's going to look based on all of the factors involved, whether it's temperature, the chemistry. There's so many things that can change how it looks. Very nice. It's great.
Is that it?
So good. Yeah, this is your photo.
After a few minutes in the darkroom, the image is then washed in 3 baths of water and coated with a black backing.
There you are.
Oh my gosh, I'm not even looking at the camera.
You look great. Yeah, you are. Are you not?
I'm kind of looking off a little bit.
You're like, what is she doing down there by the flash?
It looks like I've had too much Everclear.
Right.
Wow, that is really cool.
You look great. You look so great. I'm really pleased with how everything's shooting right now. But I kind of like the vintage feel of this.
Yeah, so do I.
And this is a traditional way to back a clear glass ambrotype. So that they used to do way back in the day.
And what a way to preserve memories, right, for everybody.
Right. Yeah, yes, exactly.
And more photos will be taken at Filson this Saturday. Not of the ambrotype. Instead, it's Bring Your Dog to Filson Day. Hang out at their flagship store in Seattle and get a complimentary photo with you and your pup. There are free dog treats as well. It all starts at 10 a.m. Coming up on Seattle Refined, save some room for a pizza with some real pizzazz. You're not going to believe what's in this peculiar pie. But first, here it comes. Find out why I ended up at the clinic and why I wanted cameras to come along. Welcome back to the show. I'm Gard Swanson. Well, most of us wish we were a little richer, had a bigger house, maybe even a nicer car. But a wise man once said, if you haven't got your health, you really haven't got anything. That's why our sponsor, Bartell Drugs, is making it easier than ever to protect your family from the flu. The Centers for Disease Control recommends that everyone over the age of 6 months should get a flu shot every year before flu season. And thanks to Bartell, you don't even need to make an appointment to get yours. Kids are in school, fall is here, the flu bug is upon us, and it's also the time of year to get your flu shot. But protecting you and your family doesn't need to be time-consuming or scary. Bartell Drugs has perfected the practice of fighting influenza, so we made a beeline for Bartell's to get vaccinated.
It's important to get a flu shot so that you're protecting yourself from the flu, protecting your family from the flu, and that keeps you out of the hospital, keeps you free from being sick, and so you can go to work every day.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you? Welcome to Bartell.
We are here to get flu shots.
Wonderful. Just a quick form to fill out for you guys.
After a few simple forms to fill out, it was time to battle the bug.
Hi, we got flu shots ready for Sven and for Gard.
Yeah, let's go.
All right,
Dude, you ready?
Well, we have the best pharmacists in all the land, and then we also are all very trained and well-versed on influenza and the flu shot itself. So we have a few different options of the flu shot that's available, some for seniors, so a lot of different opportunities there. So, and most insurance plans cover it 100%.
Okay, here we go.
Alrighty. Have you had your flu shot before?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you nervous?
Kind of.
Okay. All right, what arm did you want me to do today?
The left hand.
Okay. Did you have any questions before we get started? No? Okay. All right, so this part's just to clean it. Gonna feel a little bit cold. So far, so good? Okay, I'm gonna let that dry for a second. Exhale. Not too bad?
It didn't feel like anything.
Oh, good. After 6 months and old, they should be getting a flu shot every year. So children, 9, 10, your age children, they should always be getting a flu shot. Anyone over 3, we can vaccinate at Bartell's, and then even into the elderly. So there is a flu shot specifically for 65 and over, and we offer that with Bartell's, so every age is very important. Young, old, adolescent, teenagers, everyone.
How many shots have you given?
A lot of shots. We do so many flu shots this time of year. That was it.
Wow, I didn't feel anything.
Oh, good.
Bartell says it's best to get your flu vaccination before the end of October. The flu can be unpredictable.
And that's it.
Wow.
Not too bad.
That's super cool. That's not bad at all.
Not bad. Good.
Today, our entire family got our flu shots, including me. So what should I expect?
Just usually a little bit of soreness in the injection site. You might notice a little bit tonight and tomorrow when you're trying to fall asleep. That's about it.
Cool.
Typically very well tolerated.
And it's so nice coming here because it's so easy. We just show up and we're getting our shots.
Right. Just fast, easy, and convenient.
Here it comes. Yeah, see, I don't even feel it. Is it in?
It's in.
Yeah, I
You're
don't even
almost
feel
done.
it. That was simple.
So
easy. Oh, you guys make it so easy.
And you are all set.
Beautiful.
Good job. Everyone did wonderfully.
Good, nice work.
Thank
you.
I like those two. Oh, there isn't any. We need some lollipops for you.
Right. To learn more about how to protect yourself and others from the flu, log on to our website. Thanks, Bartell. Coming up on Refined, zombies, Star Wars, and more. These are not your mother's wedding cakes. Plus, transforming toilets into works of art. Welcome back to the show. I'm Gart Swanson. Our staff here at Refined is always combing the calendar for the most fun national days of celebration. And they do run the gamut, from the serious to the sublimely ridiculous. For instance, most people know that yesterday was Columbus Day, which celebrates the explorer's arrival in America in 1492. But did you know that later this month, it's National Feral Cat Day? It's true. Look it up. Fortunately for all of us, today is National Cake Decorating Day. We're not kidding. And Refined tracked down a trio of local artists turning out wedding cakes that, well, really take the cake. Seattle is home to some pretty spectacular wedding cake designers. We stopped by 3 very different cake studios to find out what they're working on. First up is Mike's Amazing Cakes in Redmond, to Microsoft, where some of the geekier trends are big.
We do a lot of very normal wedding cakes, but we also have this other component. Tradition is getting left behind in the dust, and weird and odd things like zombie wedding cakes. One of the biggest trends, and we've had it for several years now, is giving the groom something to be excited about or something they're mutually into, so we'll do a groom's cake. For instance, we've got here, this is her future husband's car, and he's very much in love with his car, so this is actually as many servings or more servings than the wedding cake. It's got to taste good. After all, it's a dessert. It's your grand finale of your wedding.
Down in Tacoma, we found a cake studio with a more traditional kind of vibe, but still with a flair for the spectacular.
Celebrity Cake Studios, we've been in business since 1999, and it's a family-owned business. My sister and I run it with our cousin, who's our baker, and we've all just grown up together, and we've just been in the bakery business. Usually we do a big cakes to replicate like a bride's gown, or we do cakes that with writing on it to show the vows.
Yeah. Some of the more unusual cakes that we do is like a split cake. So like it's the bride's cake in the front and then a groom's cake in the back.
Right now, we've seen a lot of cakes that are very rustic, and simple. Some of them are naked. You know, it's called, you know what a naked cake is? When the cakes have no icing. And then if you know what a semi-naked cake is? When cakes have very thin icing. And people like to express style in terms of cake. So just great for us. So we like to do that stuff.
Finally, in West Seattle, we stopped by Baked Custom Cakes, which felt kind of like an art studio. Owner Christina Surfos got her start baking in a pretty unlikely place.
I went to culinary school, then kind of took a turn and joined the Coast Guard and was baking there. Went down to Antarctica. We were actually featured on the Bride and Groom magazine for, let's see, it was this one, with the succulents, like the sugar succulents. So that, yeah, that's been the greenery, a lot of greens and just, like I said, natural florals and stuff like that on the cake. I like the kind of like the woodland ones, like we do the tree stumps a lot. Those kind of rustic style are probably my favorite, yeah. We also just started offering these cake bites. They're little like 1x1 bites on a stick. And so it's kind of a fun way for people to like have a cake bar and try different flavors.
To learn more about that story or watch it again, log on to the website. We'll be right back, but first, this refined, shareable moment.
So the Kingsley is our pizza that we make with the 24-hour fermented dough. We stuff it first with sweet potato on the edges. That's our crust. And then we begin to add our ingredients. We have a house red sauce, mushrooms, all kinds of vegetables. And then we put tons of cheese on it. And then on the outside, there's also a layer of gold crust. We put that in the oven, and then we prepare our corn, our bulgogi, which is like Korean marinated beef. And then we make our delicious golden crispy fried onion. And we put that all together after the pizza's baked. All the cheese is nice and melted, so it's like a corn cheese effect. And then we put the bulgogi on top, and then we finally put our crispy golden fried onion on top. Koreatown has a really awesome growing restaurant scene, and we wanted to be a part of it.
Welcome back to Refined. I'm Gard Swanson. You know, you've probably noticed all the construction sites around the city. Seattle is absolutely growing at a rapid pace. But have you noticed all the porta potties that come along for the ride? Now, personally, I'd sooner wrestle a python than use a porta potty for reasons that should be obvious to anyone who's been inside one on a hot day. Which brings us to Oregon City, Oregon, which is doing nothing to help with the aroma of the porta potty, but it is making them easier on the eyes.
Well, I just kind of fell into it, really. I mean, it was I just got a call one day from the organization asking if I'd be willing to do this. Thank you.
So this is the launch of the Oregon City Police Department's Arta Potty program in response to a growing homeless population and complaints from our downtown businesses, community members, business owners, etc., regarding people using the restrooms in public spaces. Also in response to the problem that our homeless population doesn't have a place to use the restroom 24 hours a day. Reached out to Arta Potties, founded out in Salem, as this creative approach to provide clean, safe, aesthetically appealing bathrooms 24 hours a day. And this kind of beautifies this approach and makes people talk. So people who are curious can say, hey, what's Arta Potties all about?
I kind of like the idea, though. I think it's a great thing they're doing.
Arta Potties? Okay. Just remember, you saw them here first. All right, that's going to do for today's show. Thanks for joining us here on Seattle Refined. We'll see you next time right here.